Hey everybody, welcome. Today we're going to talk about making you completely irreplaceable so you never have to worry about a shortage of money or insecurity at work ever again. If you're anything like me, when I was getting started, I experienced a scenario over and over again that I would have preferred I didn't experience, but I did. It was called more month than money. Likely you've, at some point in time, experienced this situation and would prefer not to. And so, you know, I remember when I was experiencing more month than money, I would think that there was always two different ways that I tried to fix the problem, and neither one of them worked as a long-term solution. And the first one was that I always tried to work more hours. I was looking for, you know, some overtime. I was looking for second jobs and third jobs, and I was just always trying to fill as many hours as I could, working by the hour for someone. The unfortunate part of this is that that is not a long-term solution. It will not fix your problem. Here's why. Look, there's only so many hours in a day, and you're a human, which means you eventually have to go to sleep. It's just not going to fix it. And so the other problem with that is they're paying the position, not the person. So it literally doesn't matter how hard you work, how good you are. If they can find somebody to pay a couple bucks an hour less to come and do that job and show up, they're going to do that and you're going to be out. This is not a long-term solution to your plan. All right, the second thing that people do to try to get out of more month than money is get out the expenses sheet and find out where they've been wasting. Most of us waste some money on something, right? We all tend to be relatively bad spenders, but all of a sudden we start getting really frugal and we start to think maybe we can fix our money problems by buying less Starbucks or, you know, getting cheaper phone plans or cheaper cable packages or whatever it is. And the unfortunate part of that is it just simply doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't shave enough off of the balance. A question I would ask you is this: what's the current income limit in your country? Yeah, that's right. There probably is not an income limit in your country. We all tend to start to think about the wrong things when we want to fix our money problems and live a better life. And the problem is we think too small. We're too concerned about shrinking what we want into our income instead of growing our income. The only income limit that you likely have on you is the one put on you at work, or the one that you put on yourself by having limiting beliefs about money. I don't know where you got the beliefs that you currently have about money, what a good income is, how much you should have saved, what kind of debt level you should still have at age 40, but you learn those thoughts, right? If you think back to when you were a baby, you didn't have any idea what a good monthly income was or anything like that. You learn those thoughts over time by hanging out with people that had those thoughts. You know, you learn them over time. So I'd make a case to you that you could probably still learn new thoughts about money that might serve your life better. If I go back, there was something I learned a lot when my last job that I ever had a long time ago. It was in the fitness industry, and I had this cool scenario where I kind of got to build my own compensation package, which was great for a while, right? I would come up with an idea, implement it, and then tell them they had to pay me a certain way for it, and I always made them money, so in turn they paid me money. It was great. And then all of a sudden my company changed hands, and the new company had no intention of continuing with that scenario that I had created, and I took this huge pay cut. Almost $10,000 a month came off of my income. And then some time went by and I started to feel really bad, and I started to feel really underpaid, and I had now new bad thoughts about money. And it was in that time of adversity, let's call it, that I had some realizations about money and income and how this stuff works. Here's what I realized. We're paid based on the size of the problem that we solve, or we're based on the number of problems that we solve. I would make a case to you that if you feel underpaid right now, you probably are capable of solving bigger problems than the ones that you're solving. Or you're capable of solving more problems than you are solving. And that's why you feel a disconnect. I know that's why I felt a disconnect. I was used to making X. I was making a much smaller X, but I was doing small work. I was solving small problems, and I needed to find bigger problems to solve. Right now, I want you to think about how do you become just irreplaceable somewhere. My background is sports, so let's use some sports analogies. If you want to make a hockey team, how do you do it? You score goals. They do not get rid of the guy or the girl that scores goals and puts the puck in the net. You want to make a baseball team? Get hits. I've never been on a football team, but my guess is that if you block and tackle and or score touchdowns, you probably make the football team. And now that we're talking about being irreplaceable at work and making more money and being valuable, you know what you do in the working world? You bring in revenue. That's how you do it. You know why I initially was making so much money at that last job was that I brought in revenue. I brought in money. And then my role changed to the point where I really wasn't doing that anymore. And so my income dropped, and it makes perfect sense. So if I wanted to make more money, I had to find ways to solve bigger problems. And in my new business, that we solve great big problems for people. But I want to give you a couple of tips on how to do this in your own career. So number one, look, bring in business. It doesn't matter what your role is at the company. If you can find ways to bring revenue into the company, you are secure and you will make more money. I guarantee you. I've got a friend who owns a small restaurant in a strip mall. And it frustrates me a little bit. From time to time, I'll walk in and ask them how they're doing, ask them how business is going, and they're never really excited about it, you know. And then I would ask, well, what's your plan to be more busy? Like, what are you doing to generate business? And typically the answer is, well, we put out a sign and we're hoping more people come in. Guys, look, hope is not a strategy in anything. If I owned that restaurant, I try to coach, but I'll tell you what I would do if I was stuck in that restaurant business. I would be out in the businesses talking to people. I'd be handing out free sandwich coupons. I'd have everything I could think of to bring people in. Right? Whether I had to give up a little bit to make them regulars, I would certainly do that. I remember back when I was a personal trainer, I would give out a free session so that I could wow them and sell them 24 sessions. You know, it's just smart things that business people do. You've got to be creative in bringing revenue into the company to become more valuable. Number two, I would tell you, you got to spend some time improving your sales skills. Right when I began in the fitness industry, I began a little bit in a sales role and I was terrible at it and I made very little money and I brought my company very little revenue. But then I studied and got better. And I practiced and I got better. And I practiced some more and all of a sudden I was a very prolific salesperson in that industry. And I made a lot more money and my company wouldn't even think of getting rid of me at that point in time, bringing all kinds of money in like that. Improve your sales skills. Be creative. Be around good salespeople and study salespeople. A resource that has been good for me, not everybody likes him, but Grant Cardone, there's lots of different places you can get access to his material. I'd suggest taking a look at it. There are many great sales trainers. That's just been one that I've enjoyed over time. Number three, find bigger problems to solve. I used to solve little problems at work, so they paid me a little bit of money. Now in my business today, I mean, we literally put people's retirement together. I cover people for when they pass away. We take care of their estate. We take care of their family. We solve way bigger problems than I did back in the day, and I make a lot more money, I don't mind telling you, solving problems like those. You should be seeking bigger problems. Right? So many people, we try to get through our whole life without problems, without trouble, without things to have to solve. I'm telling you, that's a small life. You want CEO-sized problems. That's what you're looking for. Right now, it's March 2020, and the world is falling apart right now over this virus that's going on, and the markets are tanking. And I got some big problems to deal with right now, but you know what? I welcome it because that means I've got a big business that's doing stuff. Right? Look for bigger problems to solve. And then the last thing I'll give you is this. Be the most positive person. Being positive right now will actually, that's all you need to do to stand out today, is just have a great attitude and find the positive in things and help people move forward in a positive way. You'll stand out just by smiling. Today, it'll make you a little bit special. Another thing that you can do in this area is improve the experience of customers to your business. Right? I'll give you an example. I had I had an assistant recently, and she worked with us for a while, and she's still with our company, just in a little bit of a different capacity. But it was the first time that I ever had someone in that role anticipating things that I was going to need, even before I knew that I was going to need them. And I'll tell you what, I loved it. Every time I'd show up at my desk and think, oh, I'm going to need something, boom, it was already on my desk, or whatever it was. The experience was just so much better, and I still hold her in such a high regard, just for improving my day-to-day experience with my own company. So I hope those things will help you. I want you to make more money. I want you to feel secure in your job. I'm telling you, they never get rid of people that generate revenue and are positive. So I hope you'll work on those things. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe and share it with anyone that you think may need to hear this, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.